we filming? Yes, we are. So welcome to what I hope to be the first of many midweek coffee breaks. I'm hoping to have a midweek chat about all things relating to filofaxes, other binders, and paper-based productivity in general. So we are where we are, and my cunning plan is to do this every Wednesday lunchtime, 12 o'clock GMT. There isn't any specific schedule, but I'm going to try and stick to that if I can, medical crises permitting. So here we are, and welcome. Thank you for joining me. So, what am I gonna be talking about today? Well, it is that time of year where, if you want to buy an insert, a diary insert, and you haven't done already, this is the time of year where it's becoming harder to jump on the diary insert bandwagon, as it were. So I've got a couple of examples to illustrate my point. Now, before I do that, fair play to filofax themselves, because you can go online, and I've got their website up and running, and they have plenty of inserts. So I'm recording this at the end of February 2023, and I can see that there's plenty of choice if you want a 2023 diary insert package today, right now. You can order it. I'm looking at an example here, week on 2 pages, personal 2023 English. I live in the UK, and if I get a diary, I prefer the if I'm going to get a filofax one, they do a multi-language, and they do an English version of some of their diary inserts. But for me, I know why they do it. I know why they have the multi-language ones, because of economies of scale, etc. But I can't think for any other reason. I can't think, for instance, if I got on a boat and went to France. I don't fly. If I got on a boat to go to France, I would need a multi-language one, so that if I was consulting my diary, I instead of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I would go lundi, mardi, mercredi, vendredi. Oh, I can't remember. I can't do them. So clearly, I would be just using my English diary wherever I was, because that is my main and sadly only language. I'll tell you what. Just as a digression, I started learning French 54 years ago. I started learning French at school, and I'm not that good, I can just do a little bit. J'habite 70 km nord de Londres. So, not much, but I'm digressing here. I would buy the English version of the diary, and here I would pay £9. Do they have free postage at the moment? No, they don't. No, they don't. But sometimes I do. Sometimes I buy from the filofax website. Seems to work very, very well, and delivery is consistent and fairly quick. But if I wanted a diary in my local town, I live in Milton Keynes, which is in the Midlands, middle of England, almost dead centre in the middle of England. then I largely have two choices, my John Lewis store and my W.H. Smith store. But I was just looking just a few moments ago while I was making my coffee, and I was looking at the John Lewis store, and we're talking about filofax diary inserts here. Email when available. Out of stock, email when available, out of stock, email when available, out of stock, 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 email when available, so you get the picture. So my hunch is that, and I've never ever looked at this before, but John Lewis have always stocked filofaxes, probably from the 90s. But either there's been a run on diary inserts and they haven't been able to cope, or more likely, I think they just tend to drop them after a while, maybe at the beginning of February. I don't exactly know the time, but clearly then they have the items listed, but they're clearly out of stock. And it's a really handy indication if you have a national store. John Lewis have, I don't know, maybe 30 stores up and down the country. It might be less because of they've closed a few recently because of the problems with COVID a couple of years ago. But it's clearly more difficult to get the diary you want locally. I nipped into W.H. Smith's a few days ago, and they have a fair range of, it's a small range, but there's a fair range there. We don't have a Staples here anymore. That's only available online now. All the Staples stores went bust, at least here in the UK. Ryman, I'm not sure about Ryman, but I don't have a Ryman in my town, so I can't really check. But this is probably indicative of how things are with all things filofax, particularly with the inserts at this time of year. Things are being run down. But did I buy a diary insert from John Lewis when I had the opportunity? No. And I'll tell you what, and this stems from a purchase I made of a binder on eBay a little while ago, just over a month ago. And in there, the seller, I didn't ask for it, but the seller was kind enough to include a brand new set of inserts. And I didn't know, they looked absolutely fantastic. Clean design. There was no logo. There's no indication of who made them. And so I put out a call on social media saying, have you seen this? Who makes this? Where can I get this diary? Because I was very impressed with the fact that the paper was possibly 100 GSM. It feels like 100 GSM, so it would take a fountain pen, and I am inclined to write with a fountain pen as and when I can. And it came back that it turned out that this diary, this set of diary inserts, came from Wilko, which is like a very low-end budget store here in the UK. There are lots of these stores, a bit like a pound store or a dollar store, but they do sell stuff further up the price point, as it were. And so I saw them, and I thought, do you know what? I'll have some of these. So I bought a whole stack of them. And why am I doing that? Well, firstly, for me, I use several diaries. For instance, I have one filofax that has all my medical appointments. Sadly, I need a whole diary for those. I have another one where I am using it exclusively for organising my videos, shooting, editing, uploading, etc. And I need a whole diary for that, because I have a number of YouTube channels, not just Flatability. So that keeps me on my toes, and a paper-based diary is what I use to keep things under reasonable control. And I do need some organisation there. So I need several diaries, and I've started to use these this year because they are just really, really nice, and you get some not just get the let me just show you the diary. So this is what we're looking at. Really, really, really nice, very, very clean design. Good quality paper. I don't know, the paper probably comes from China, but hopefully they brought it by ship, not plane. That's all I can say. Hopefully the carbon footprint is fairly low. But in here you get a whole a set of pages for addresses and notes and to-dos. That's actually quite a good setup, I think. But why did I buy so many? Well, I've used a few for myself, as previously explained. But what am I going to do with these? Well, they only cost £2 something, which, okay, I'm not comparing these to the £9 filofax one. I believe the filofax paper is made, or at least up until the Fukushima incident in Japan, they were being made by Japan, and really consistent quality over the years. Some people moan about the thinness of the fact that the paper is too thin to take a fountain pen, but I dispute that because the fact that it's thin allows you to have more paper. You can overstuff a filofax with far more sheets than you could if you were using 100. I think this is 100 GSM. Doesn't actually say. Doesn't it? I'll tell you what it does say. It does say paper from responsible sources, which I don't know much about, but it gives me some reassurance that it is as sustainable as it can be. But I'm digressing here. Why have I bought a great many of these? Well, I bought them because occasionally I sell a filofax binder on eBay, and I don't know the circumstances of the potential buyer, but I'm adding, at least for the first few binders of the year that I'm selling, I'm just going to add one of these to each binder, so that if it's someone who is new to this wonderful filofax world we in which we live, then that might be very useful to them. But here's the thing, and I missed out here, and I shouldn't really be that. I mean, I'm not devastated. Of course, I'm not devastated. But here is the thing. I paid £2 for these. Last night, when I looked at the Wilko website, these were still available, albeit they only had one nationally. It just said one available, 25 pence, which is probably about 28 or 29 cents if you're across the pond. 25p, well, that's an absolute bargain, isn't it? So that what they've done, I assume, is there was a cut-off point at which they just wanted to clear them. Storage space is money. There's probably a long tail for these, so they sell a lot of these at the beginning of the year, or just before the end of the year. And then if they had them in stock, there would be a long tail as the number of these were bought declined, and, space is money in a warehouse. So they've just cleared them by offering them at 25 pence, which is probably the biggest bargain out there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a note in my diary for next year, sometime towards maybe the end of January, to look out for these, and see whether I can pick up a few for 25p. I mean, who doesn't love a bargain? Pick up some of these for 25p rather than £2 something. Although, if I've got large numbers of people doing the same thing because they've seen me regale my review of these fantastic set of inserts here, then maybe the opportunity to buy a few of these at 25p won't materialise, because there'll be many more people doing exactly the same thing, waiting for that cut-off point. So that's all I have to say here. I hope you've enjoyed it. We're up to 16 minutes. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep these to a sort of coffee break length. So I hope you find them interesting. I have stacks and stacks. I mean, I could literally talk about these random paper-based issues for hours and hours and hours, but I'm not going to do that. You'll be pleased to hear. I'm going to stop it now. Thank you for watching, and just one thing before I go. I'm almost certainly going to have not one but 2 videos for you this week. They're going to be quite interesting, hopefully. I mean, I know I'm biased, but hopefully you'll enjoy them too. Until you watch my videos again, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.